All right, we are now live. I just want to say hello to everyone in the NXT community. It's been a while since have been on here to do this community update, and we just wanted to get together today to update everyone in the NXT community on the latest developments that's going on and some of the changes and some of the things that's going on in the NXT community that we want to share with everyone. We're going to cover several topics today. Bass and I have a set of bullet points, and we'll go through each one real quickly with you and not take up too much of your time. First of all, I just want to say that, for anyone that is new to the NXT community, my name is Ty Zen, and this is Bass Wesselink that's on the NXT forum, and he goes by Damalon as his handle, and mine is Asian Prepper. So let's go ahead and get back to the update here. We're going to make several big changes to the way this update is being broadcasted and is being done on a regular basis. The first thing is that we're going to go to a more of an evergreen format, meaning that we are not going to be taking the approach of the news format that we've been doing since the beginning of the year. We both think that has served its purpose, but now that NXT is now out in the cryptocurrency community and in the financial community, we need to take a different approach to assist with the growth of the NXT technology and the platform. Do you want to talk about the couple of things that's causing us to make this change besides that, Bess?
Yeah, the biggest reason is that when we started these updates, there were loads of things happening in a very short amount of time. So every week, in the beginning, we did these updates every week. There was always something new to mention, new projects being started, new features coming out, new people coming in, very active, and a lot happening. At this moment, a lot of things are still in development. A lot of the things that were announced a few months ago are still either in development or finished already. But we can't every week or every 2 weeks say, okay, now we have 3 topics that are totally new and very interesting. So that just doesn't work, and saying every time still in development, while everybody already knows this from the forums, also doesn't help. So I think, and we talked about this, that it's a very good idea to change the format of what we do.
Okay. I think it's also important for everyone to know that Bass and I've been trying to keep these updates together and connect with everyone in the NXT community and to get the data and the information we need to do these updates. But due to our work schedules and conflicts, it's not always possible for both of us to be on at the same time to do these NXT community updates. And it's not always possible for there are weeks where neither one of us are available due to work conflicts. So because of that, we were making this change, and I think that this evolution that we're making in the NXT community updates will really benefit more of the NXT community and the new users and the businesses that are coming into the NXT and adopting the technology. One of the things that we want to stress a lot on is, like I mentioned earlier, the news formats were not very good because it would only come out and we would explain the new developments in the NXT technology, and afterwards it would be good for that week only, and then next week that piece of data or content or video that we created was no longer valid afterwards. So Bass and I have discussed that if we don't have a lot of time set aside from our work and our family, so the time that we do have, we want to spend it focusing on creating content that will really benefit the NXT community a year from now, 5 years from now, and 10 years from now. It will still benefit the new users and the businesses that come to adopt the NXT technology, right? So that's one of the main reasons why we're making this change. Anything else you want to add to that?
Well, there's, like you say, it's the outdating. Lots of things happening, and yeah, we're towards a more long-term view in what we're doing. We're still, of course, going to keep doing what we already do, which is being out there. One of the main reasons we did these hangouts, if you remember, was to show our face, to
Yeah.
show that there are real people behind the project, not behind the software, because neither of us is a developer, but at least within the project, to show, yes, there are real people working on this, and they are also here to stay. I think that's been proven now, and we're still going to do that. That's one of the things that we will keep doing. We're still out there connecting to people, getting people into contact, but that's long-term work.
Yeah,
And
it's not.
also it's you can do updates two ways. You can have the format and have the format dictate what you put in there. So we have a 2-week format, and every time you have to have 3 news items. So you have to scrounge for the news items, even if there is actually no news. Or you can do it the other way around. When there is news, then you come out, and I can see that we could still do that. If there is big news, we can still make an update on that.
Okay, and I agree with you completely. You mentioned earlier that that most developments right now are too technical in the NXT development stage, and a lot of it may turn people off or it may confuse them. So it's better that we don't discuss that because you mentioned that the new users and the new business that are coming in to adopt the NXT platform, they just want to know how to use it.
Yeah, that was what we were talking about earlier when we were talking about this update, is that, of course, it's interesting for a lot of people to know what the technical side is, but we do that on the forums and in the chats that we have. Let's be honest, it's geek stuff. And not, it's certainly, in my vision, in what I've seen in the industry too, is that businesses, they want to know, what can I do with it, and how can I use it, and how can I make money with it. That's not a technical discussion. Even if you have a talk with a businessman about that, once you get to the technical discussion, you will get his developer and our developers into contact, but that's a completely different way of talking.
Okay,
And
so
and
it's
also, if you have an hour update filled with technical details, it tends to put people off. You're right about that.
So it's basically it's like when someone gets into a car, they really don't care how the transmission or the axles or how petroleum is converted to heat energy back to mechanical energy, back,
Yeah.
motion. They just want to know where the ignition is and where the what gear to put it in, and then they can move.
Yeah.
Right. So and that's the approach that we're taking here, is that we want to make it so it's simple for new users and in businesses to adopt the NXT platform. You
And,
also,
and also, of course, if there are technical things, then we can refer, because we have these contacts, we still can refer people to the relevant people, to the developers. And if there are, and I can still envision we can do a technical update, but then we will label it as such.
okay. Now, yeah, so I agree with you that NXT has now gone past the quote unquote NXT is a scam and NXT is not a real cryptocurrency. We've gone past that stage now. Every media outlet, every known person that's out there that's popular, every journalist that is in the cryptocurrency world, they all know NXT is for real. They all know what it is. They all know that it's one of the cryptocurrencies that's in the forefront. So I think that it's important that this evolution that we're making, this change that we're making, is to help deal with the new challenges and the new hurdles and obstacles that's facing the NXT community and the technology itself moving forward in the future. Now, one of the things that will be coming out soon here is the NXT Foundation. You had mentioned, and you and I have both discussed it, and we're both the co-organizers of it. Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, we're not going to go into detail about it until all the legalities of it are completed. but could you just give a brief overview so that the NXT community can expect what's coming forth in the next couple of months?
Yeah. Well, the one of the key words is, of course, what you say, legality. It will have what we call the next foundation. Will have a really legal structure. One of the reasons for this is, and we've everyone who's attended conferences has noticed that once you go under your individual name, it's much harder to get in. If you want to organize things with an organization, they prefer to organize it with another organization. This is one of the reasons why we are looking into making it a real legal structure. Also, just so that the autograph that your signature that you put to it. It's a group of people. We're a group of people, 5 people at the moment, who think it's needed to, and also know it's needed to contact businesses on an equal footing.
When you say think it's needed, do you think it's okay? This is an appropriate time for me to share what happened when I tried to set up a conference for NXT here in the city of Dallas.
Yes.
This is the 4th largest city in America, and it's in the state of Texas for anyone that's outside the United States. And when I approached the city of Dallas and several legal entities in the city of Dallas to set up a cryptocurrency conference that was sponsored by the NXT community, they pretty much laughed it off and didn't even want to talk to me and did not want to return my calls or anything, simply because when they asked me who I represented, I said that I was with the NXT community and the technology, and they practically just hung up. They thought it was a joke. They thought it was a prank. They just did not take it serious. And I called several times to each location, and they just did not take it serious. So they said that if I'm representing a company or an organization or anything like that, then get back with them. But they're not going to rent out an entire conference center to some just random individual that cannot. There's no legal backing because when they sign contracts and everything to rent the conference rooms and for all the business reasons, they're not just going to deal with just an individual that cannot assume the liability for it. So, and then I know that you and the other guys tried to work on setting up negotiate the contracts with the Pay Expo for 2015 and the one for 2014 also, and you guys ran into lots of legal troubles. And I'm not talking about in an illegal way. You just ran into a wall. You couldn't get anything done because there was no legal entity to represent.
Yeah, and it's also a question of safety. It's something we have signed for this. An individual has signed. If something goes wrong, this individual is personally liable for damages.
Yeah.
You don't want that. One of the reasons for setting up a legal structure is also to limit the liability. It's just that simple. If you want, for some situations, you need insurance. For instance, that is not because people think that bricks are starting to fall on your head, but it's something that some venues actually want in place, just in case. Then a legal structure is much, much easier because you can, as an individual, it's very hard to do short-term insurance, and for an organization, it's really easy. It's for all these kinds of things where you want access to a simple legal structure to say, okay, let's do this, and then we have what we call the next foundation. I also want to mention that in this case, we all know Bitcoin Foundation. We have a different mission statement. We certainly are not representing everyone. We're not proposing that. It is a convenient structure, a convenient legal structure to do these things that we at this moment cannot do, or only very difficult.
Okay, so but basically, you had mentioned that Evil Dave is setting up the nonprofit paperwork and everything for the NXT Foundation?
Yeah, Dave Pierce, Evil Dave, he's setting up the a Dutch foundation. So this is
Okay.
under Dutch jurisdiction. So we can use it for now because it's very easy for us, for Dave and me, because we both live in the Netherlands, to set this
Okay.
up. We're also familiar with it, and that will be done well in a few weeks. It's now
Okay.
at signature level.
So that we don't get into too much detail until the legal structure is completed, and then everyone
Technical.
on the
That's
huh?
the same kind of thing as technical, too much legal.
Yeah. Yeah, until that's completed, we'll go into more details about that. I think it'd be better if we do that after the legalities are done, when Evil Dave is complete with that, and everyone from the foundation here, the whole team is here, so that everyone can see who it is. Um, the Also, one last note, you mentioned that you and Chancellor had mentioned that the NXT Foundation is not so much for the NXT community, but it's more for the businesses that are dealing and interacting. It's to serve them more.
It's, well, it is to serve as a channel where businesses feel comfortable to do business with. What I get a lot of emails
Mhm.
from businesses, and they want to know, okay, and you get in this kind of marriage negotiations. Okay, what can you do for me? What can I do for you? What do you bring to? That goes so far, and then you get to the point where people want to know, okay, how are we going to actually do this? Where are my securities? How do I know you won't screw up? This is a point where, again, for liability reasons, a lot of companies want a signature, or want to know at least the people behind it, or want the first contact that is made, which is then forwarded to maybe someone completely else that has nothing to do with the foundation at all. They want to know that.
Yeah.
And the whole idea that we had for the foundation was to provide this point of contact.
And
Um,
and I think it was also important too that because eventually the committee funds will run out eventually, and there needed to be a body or a group of people that will be doing some fundraising and
yeah,
seeking donations to help develop the NXT technology.
yeah.
And so we'll go into more detail about that after the legal nonprofit structure has been completed by Evil Dave. But could you talk about some of the things that the focus on? Yeah, you had mentioned about we discussed about the evergreen content. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, the evergreen content comes under the moniker of education. And a few people within the foundation, you and me and Dave, have sales backgrounds, and we do know that education is very. If people are confused
Yeah,
about what they need, confusion is killing for adoption. It's that
yeah,
simple. If I
yeah.
go to a site and I have no clue what exactly is happening and I need to do a lot of for it, I tend to quit and I go away. So you lose a potential user. Um, and this also goes for businesses who need technical information. So it's two things. You have the user side, just people who want to use the client, but you also want people who want, for instance, to do something on the asset exchange, but get conflicting information, they will leave. Unless they're already intrinsically motivated, but that's a much smaller group. So one of the things that the foundation will do, also because it's a lot of fun to do, is education. Set up tutorials, all these kinds of things. Get trustworthy and updated information, up-to-date information, to the people, whoever that may be at that point.
Yeah, because
Uh,
well, we have a lot. I agree with you that because in the sales training that I do for businesses and stuff, I always tell them that that nothing kills a sale faster than confusion,
yeah,
and from a NXT perspective, nothing kills adoption faster than confusion. So as soon as people see that there's something confusing about the process of downloading, verifying, installing the NXT client, then their first immediate response is to let it go and move on to something else. They're not going to sit there and waste time doing it. So there needs to be a better, more reliable and trustworthy set of video tutorials, because we have a lot of tutorials floating around the internet, but not all of them are updated, and not all of them are consistent, and not all of them are in a manner that's presented that's easy to understand. And I understand that you have put out some bounties on it already to get some of these tutorials made. And I will also throw this out there that you are providing a bounty for anyone that wants to put some text or image or any kind of format to where it's easy for people to read and understand how to download, verify, and install the NXT client.
There's a thread on the forums. It is called Tutorial Bounty Basket, and there are 4 topics that I put in there. But all these are already covered. People are working on this. So
I would like to throw this out there on top of your bounty. If anyone wants to create the in text and image, but they don't want to be on video to explain how it's done, they are welcome to send it to me at tai at nxtfoundation.org, and I will actually take your set of instructions and create a video out of it, a screen capture video out of it, and after it's done, you can keep the bounty. I don't need it. I just want the instructions to make sure that it's done correctly.
Okay, so well, let's do it this way at least. The information that I already will get we will share, and we'll do the video work on that. We will make it into professional video tutorials. We will not take anything from the bounties because it's meant for people who produce the content.
Yes.
We will do the other work also because we like doing it.
Yeah, because I just want to make sure that it's done correctly. So the instructions need to explain, if you're listening to this and you're interested in doing it, the tutorial needs to explain how to verify the client, the loop, and how to verify his email signature, how to verify that the client, the software that you download, is the correct version with the hashtag, the checksum and everything, how to install it, what are some of the problems that you run into when you install it on a Windows, on a PC, and all those things. And if you provide all that information, I will take it, I will produce the video, the screen capture video, and then you can keep the bounty from Damelon.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I just want to make sure it's done correct. So that those are the things that Bass and I and the rest of the team will still be focused on. I just don't want people to think that this community update is gone. We will have an update. It will not be on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, and the updates will only come out when it's important that everyone needs to know, and it's usually things that will affect everyone.
Yeah.
Right. So, do you have any last words before we end this update and end this format?
Well, I think it's good in retrospect to see where we've come. It's next is now on the 24th of November. It's 1 year old. Launch was on 24th of November 2013. Sometimes that really, I think for a lot of people, if you really think about it, it is amazing. Actually, that we're still around. That we've been around in the top 10 of CoinMarketCap all the time. We've never been out of it. Even now that things are dropping like bricks in crypto land, we still hold our own. We drop just like the rest, but in proportion to Bitcoin, we still are at the same value. So there's no. We have definitely had our share of problems in the last year. I think everybody can. We're still around, and we have still a very positive community, and that's really something to keep in mind. That after a year we have built this. So in retrospect, also with going all these updates, what happened with all the bad things, I think that we're still in a very, very strong position to just keep going and creating value.
Yeah. I also want to add that before we wrap up that I am glad that I made the investments in the NXT technology. earlier this year when my friend Leon Fu first introduced me to it. I thought at first that I was taking a big gamble, but regardless of what I thought back then, I'm glad that it's paid off now, and that the NXT technology is still here. Like Bass said, there's many at the beginning of the year. It was a ruthless battle of all the alternative currencies besides Bitcoin, and now to know that I made this choice and that everyone in the NXT community has made this choice and took the risk for this new technology to come out. And it's like Bass said, it's been in the top 10. And to be honest with you guys, I rarely remember it being out of the top 5. Bass is being more conservative. I like to look at it from what I've seen is that every time I check CoinMarketCap, it's rare that I ever see it below the top 5. It's always been in the top 5 in my mind. And so I'm really glad about that. And I think that I want to share with you guys also that this change and this evolution in how we are promoting the NXT technology and platform, it was a lot for us. It took several weeks for Bass and I to figure this out and decide on this because it's not easy because we were obviously comfortable with just making random broadcasts out to the NXT community. But we've come to the point where we realize that, temporary short-term outlook on NXT needs to be changed, and that we need to take a more long-term approach to ensure the sustainability and the longevity of the NXT technology. And I'm kind of glad that we have gone past that point where we don't have to deal with addressing whether or not NXT is a scam, or if it's real, or if it's fake, or if it's by anonymous developers and stuff. Within the next month or so, before the end of this year for sure, we are going to have a list and photos and bios and profiles of all the core developers for the NXT technology.
Probably not all, but quite a few.
Okay, well, quite a few, and the ones that we at least we can list, and so that people will know how to get a hold of them and know who they are. And the ones that are willing to be public will be made public as well. In the meantime, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us this far and supporting us this far. We definitely appreciate your support, and we hope that you continue to support what we do to promote the NXT platform with integrity moving forward into 2015. And also, if you would like, I personally invite you guys to swing by NXTFoundation.org. Take a look at what our beta site is up so far, and give us some input. And when you guys give us some input, please evaluate what input you provide to us. Give us some constructive criticism. If you tell us that you don't like this or you don't like that, that really does not help us. If you tell us that, hey, you don't like this for a reason because you think it's going to do this, and then here's the solution, and that it will be better to promote the NXT platform with integrity, then it's a lot easier for us to review your submissions and make adjustments accordingly.
Yep.
So, all right. Any last words?
No last words.
Okay. So this will conclude this NXT community and development update number 19, and we look forward to talking to you guys again with some really good news and a positive outlook in future videos.